Let's go to both of the Seattle running backs. So, Tom, we got Charbonnet and Kenn Walker. I'll let you talk us through. I know Charbonnet's dealing with the knee, Kenn Walker with an oblique. What do you expect out of this backfield going forward?
I don't know if I love or hate Pete Carroll's reports on his players injured. Did you see what he said today about these guys?
Did not, but I know that Pete Carroll is infamous for absolutely talk about players blowing smoke. He'll talk about like their fourth running back and be like, man, this guy's got talent. This guy is so special. Injuries, I don't tell us. What did he say? What happened?
He said, in regards to both of them, Charbonnet and Walker, he said they did some stuff today. Thanks, Pete.
It's time for me to drink my water. Yeah, I did some stuff today too, and it wasn't involving NFL workout loads and catches and carries. Like, great stuff. All right, so Tom, you are the doctor of physical therapy. What the hell does stuff mean? What is that?
Your guess is as good as mine. Well, here's what we do know. Zach Charbonnet, they played Thursday night. His knee was very swollen after the game. So that usually indicates there's some tissue damage or at least some irritation, but doesn't necessarily mean it's super severe. So with over a week, about 10, 11 days to play, that's enough time to get that swelling down. And as long as there's no true instability in the knee, he should be totally fine. Walker, on the other hand, we know he's dealing with that oblique injury, missed the last 2 games. That's a fairly reasonable timeline for this type of injury. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer. But when guys return from this injury, this season at least, we're not seeing a hit on their fantasy production whatsoever. Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra, St. Brown all had this injury. And when they returned, they balled out. So if Walker is in the lineup this week, I'd expect him to play pretty well.
All right, lot to digest there. Here, Tom, you could tell me if you agree or disagree. Here's how I would play it. If Kenn Walker's out, I would play Charbonnet in fantasy. If Charbonnet's out, which you said he's not going to be, I would play Kenn Walker. But to me, if both are playing, I'm looking to actually sit these guys, man. And I'll tell you why. And then, Tom, you could tell me if you agree or disagree. I mean, they play the Niners. The Niners are just too good. I think Charbonnet's a fine NFL runner. I mean, even last week, I ran 19 times for 60 yards. He's got some burst to him, had a long catch for 39 yards. But they play the Niners, number 1 in the NFL against the run, allowing just a total of 79 rush yards per game. The Niners just blow teams out, man. I mean, Tom, but I know the Eagles are very good. 49ers just smacked their freaking doors off, 42-19 on the road. The Birds were home. You weren't at that game, were you?
No, the weather was lousy. I wasn't going to leave my house.
42-19 against the Eagles. So what are they going to do now that they're at home against the Seahawks? I think to have any upside with these guys, you're going to need a receiving touchdown out of one of them. I'm not willing to make that risk this week. So for me, if I have anything decent, I'm looking to sit these guys. What do you think? I mean, I know that's a hard move. Kenn Walker being RB22, Charbonnet 43, but coming on a little bit here. Like, how do you feel about them from a fantasy perspective?
That is a bold move. I don't hate it. I think I would play Walker just because he's a guy that has a nose for the end zone and a nose for big plays. So while the Niners could bottle him up on, 18 carries, it could be that 19th carry that he pops a 50-yarder. So I do think that there's still value there, but I absolutely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and just to conclude with him, I just don't like Kenn Walker's run style against the Niners team that gets behind the line of scrimmage so often. Like, you know how Kenn Walker runs, where I don't even know how to describe his style. Remember they used to describe Le'Veon Bell as like a patient. He's such a patient run. Like, that's kind of how Kenn Walker is. But you're right, he could break one. But again, the injury worries me a little bit. But again, you kind of addressed that. Okay,